What's up everyone? This is my 2016 Mercedes C-Class, which at one point was the cheapest Mercedes C-Class in all of Europe. The reason it was the cheapest is because it was crashed on the front and I was quoted $5,000 to fix it. So instead of doing that, I took it upon myself to fix it, and we eventually fixed this car, me and my father did. So this is a really special car to me because this was the last thing I did with my father before he eventually passed away. So yeah, as you saw in the previous video, I did a whole compilation of us fixing this car and the whole process it took to get here. So now the car is completely finished, but today I wanted to challenge myself and try to do a regular service on this car. On the trip computer, it finally started to show a warning that service is due. It showed a warning for the A3 service. Now, a bit of a background. I do not have much experience with cars. Like, yes, I have experience fixing cars, especially the damage that was on this car. I also have a series on my channel where I fix a Golf Mark 1. So I have serviced that car, but apart from that, like, I don't have much experience. So this is a modern car. This is a 2016, which in my opinion, yes, it's older. It's 10 years old by now. But in my opinion, from 2014, cars started becoming computers on wheels. So servicing this car will be much different than servicing the Golf Mark 1 I have on the channel. I'm not sure if I can do it. There are a lot of plastics to remove. Jacking up the car is not so easy. Resetting the service reminder is not as straightforward. So let's see if a non-mechanic can do a regular service on a modern car. Now, the A3 service on Mercedes, especially on this model, includes filters. So air filter, cabin filter, oil filter, and fuel filter. However, I changed the fuel filter last year. Well, I had a shop do it for me. So when I fixed the crash damage on this car, I took it for a service and did a fuel filter just in case it wasn't done for a long time, and did a regular service. So fuel filter doesn't have to be changed, and apparently on these cars it's good for like 50 to 75,000 kilometers. So that's good. The A3 service also includes checking all 4 brakes. So I have to check all 4 brakes, which I will do, of course. They are fine. I know they are fine, but I'll just check them just in case. I have to do a fluid check, so coolant, brake fluid, that's basically it. Let's jack up the car. Okay, I did some consultation with my professional friend that's called ChatGPT, and he suggested that I jack up the car from the front. There is apparently one jacking up area in the middle, but you have to have a low profile jack to get under it. I do have a low profile jack, however, I cannot put planks under it, and this is soil. So, before I start doing something, I want to say, everyone that has eyes, please close them. And do not do this at home. Let's go. It feels solid. Now it's time to take off the wheels. Since I'm doing a brake check, this is perfect because I have to check the brakes anyways. So, and also I can put the wheel underneath the car. So if the jack stands fail, the car crashes the wheel, it doesn't crash me, hopefully. Also, I got a new tool which I'm really excited to use. I'm using an extension because I don't have the right... Jesus. Now it's time to take off this under tray, which is held by these bolts. There are around 10, I think. After that, we have to take out this plastic, which will give us access to the oil pan. So let's remove this, then remove this, and we can go ahead and drain the oil. One plastic out. Oh my god, what stupid design. You basically have to remove a plastic which goes almost back to the DPF filter. And the bolts, some of the bolts are in the middle of the car. Why would they put a plastic cover which covers the oil sump down to the middle of the car? Why would they do that? I don't get it. Mechanics have it so bad nowadays, man. It's fucking crazy. Bolt number, whatever the fuck. Bolt number 1005. Jesus, man. I think I'll sell this car and use my Golf Mark 1 instead. Alright, I think I got all the bolts. Probably not. What the fuck? What's happening, man? There's one more bolt in the middle. Oh my god. I got it. Jesus. Or did I? What's holding it on, man? One more bolt. Well, it's probably not the last one. Finally, I got it out. Let's remove the oil drain plug and drain the oil. As I said, this is a plastic oil drain plug, and it's kind of very tricky to get out. Well, not very tricky, but it's tricky. There is a locking tab, so as you're twisting it, you have to open the locking tab. I did it. Okay, it wasn't so tricky as I thought. Okay, I'll let this drain for a bit. While the oil is draining, we have to move on to the other service items, which is the oil filter and the air filter, which both require us to take out this cover. I have a claw filter removal, which is not ideal. There we go, the oil filter. So I have to remove the old filter, then change the O-rings as well. Let's do that. Here's the new one. The new O-rings as well. Now let's put some oil on each of the seals. I think that's enough. Yep. All right, the oil is drained. Let me put a new drain plug in and I'll fill up the oil. I made a whole mess. This car takes about 6 liters of oil. That was 5 liters. Now I'll add 1 more liter. I want to change the air filter and also the cabin filter, so let's do that. We have to take this whole thing out. That's lost forever. No going back. No going back. I think servicing this car is 90% removing bolts and 10% actually doing the service. Yeah. Just for fun, I'll put up a number here of how many bolts I removed just to service this car. So there you go. Now it's time for the last service item, which is the cabin filter. This one isn't bad at all, as you can see. I think it was in the wrong way. The previous shop that I took this car to service it have put it in the wrong way. It is what it is. Now, let's start up the car, let it run for a few minutes, then we'll check the level and see if it's good or not. The oil level is right where it should be. Now it's time to check the brakes, check the fluids, but as I can see, coolant is good. I'll check the other tank as well. Check the brakes, reset the service reminder, and we're finished. As I said, the last thing we need to do is check the brakes. What we want to see if there is a big lip right here, or there are grooves on the disc which are thick and you can feel them with your finger. This is relatively smooth, but grooves are starting to appear, which means that the disc will soon need changing. Apart from that, you have to look for cracks or things of that nature, and rust as well. This disc is pretty rusty, so it's okay for now, I think, but it will have to be changed relatively soon, probably in 1 year or so. We also need to check the pads. For the pads, you need to check how thick the pads are. If they're around 1 centimeter, you're pretty much good. If they're around 5 millimeters, it's okay, but they're going out. If they're 3, 2, or even less millimeters, then it's definitely time to change them. As far as I can see, mine have more than 1 centimeter of health on them, so they're relatively good. So the pads and the discs are okay for now, but this disc probably has 1, maybe 1.5 years until it goes, because grooves are starting to form, and that's what you don't want, basically. So another check we need to do is how this brake disc and brake pads are compared to the other side. So we'll go to the other side and check if they're uneven in terms of wear. This one as well, there are some grooves, especially this one. This is a bigger groove, but as I said, it's similar to the other side, so I'm okay with this. This has 1 year at least left, and the pads as well, it's the same as the other side, so this one is good. Before putting the under trays on the car, I decided to give them a wash just to remove all the old grime and dirt off them. When I finished washing them, they weren't perfect, but they were at least better than they were. So all of the dirt and grime is now off of the under trays. At this point, I started putting the under trays on the car, starting with the one at the back, then the one near the oil sump, then the one on the bumper. The one on the bumper I removed because I added two grills which you can see on the front underneath the headlights. At this point I'm putting back the wheels and I'm getting ready to lower the car. And there we go, my Mercedes is fully serviced. To be honest, it was easier than I expected. Being a modern car, I expected much worse. The only problem was that I had to take out 1000 bolts because it was 90% taking out bolts and 10% doing the actual service. So apart from that, it's relatively easy. The other downside is the fact that jacking up this car is really a big problem because from the front it's very low, so you have to have low profile jack. I do, but the problem was that this is soil, and when I was jacking up the car I had to jack it up on soil. I couldn't put planks underneath or something like that, so it was sketchy jacking up the car. I'm really proud of myself that I managed to do a service on this car, because servicing this car is very different to servicing my Golf Mark 1. It's much more complicated and you have to have more patience. I love this car. In the future I would like to make it even better. As you can see, I already made one modification to it. I bought this off of AliExpress and I had them, and I was like, I have the car jacked up already, so might as well change that as well. So I changed those. In my opinion, it makes the car look much better, much more elegant. So see you in the next one, and in the future I'll probably explain how much everything costs to repair this car. And after that I want to put AMG bumpers on it, big wheels on it, everything. We'll change everything. Then we'll put a roof tent on it and we'll camp in the mountains. See you in the next ones. Peace out.